What's up, everyone? I'm excited that you guys are here for the last week of High Performance Habits. I'm recording this for those that can't be on live due to their work schedules and whatnot. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm both excited and bummed that this book is done. I've absolutely loved it so far, but I'm also excited because this is a habit that we're going to continue doing as friends, teammates, with our coaches, clients, and just anybody that we feel that might want to grow in their life and be connected with awesome people. This is going to be an open invitation. So before we end this call, I do want to chat about what book we might want to read next. I have some ideas, but I also do want some input from you guys. But I'm going to share some of my takeaways. We were on the book. This book, I know there's a few different versions. Was page 324, which was the number one thing. Through the very end. So, and it was a very short this section. So if you're behind, don't worry, you can really catch up quite quickly. But I'm going to share some of the things that I really loved about the end. I have one that I wrote down here. I am on of this book, page 332. And there's a couple places that I have underlined on this page. Once again, it's 332. It says, I believe in my ability to figure things out. And I absolutely loved that phrase, and something that I've been really working on. You know, I'm going after some really big goals personally with my business, but also with life. So there's a lot of things going on where I've slightly felt uncertainty. But I think I've been just so comfortable for so long that it's not really uncertainty. It's just stretching me where I haven't been stretched as much lately. And so this chapter came at the perfect time, this section where it said, I believe in my ability to figure things out. Because we're taking on, the building of our dream home, which I'm working on getting our loan closed before the end of the month. And it's a short month, so we can have all the funds ready to start clearing the land on March 1st. So that's going on. We're building our 5th vacation rental near Park City. And so there's a lot going on. Like, I just put 20% down on that build, and then I need to have the next 20% for the build of our house, and then all the pieces of permits and everything, and interior design and all that stuff. Like, we got the drawings and the art and the engineering and all that stuff done, but it's like I have that, and then with my business, I have some new set goals that I'm working on. And it's just felt like a lot of stuff. So I love that phrase. I believe in my ability to figure things out. So just taking things one day at a time. And I went to a brunch this morning. I just got back with Micah Folsom and a girl named Sam Lunt. Sam is a 5-star diamond in Beachbody. She's mentored by Micah Folsom. Micah Folsom is a triple 15-star diamond and has 8 business centers, 10 with her husband's business centers. And to give you guys an idea of where that is, I have 3 business centers and Gabby has 1. So I have 4. So she has 10. So that shows you how much she's accomplished and where she's at. But I was asking her about some of her things. She has a beef business, like they raise cattle and do beef, and she runs her 10 business centers, and she's pregnant with her 6th child. And it was just awesome to hear her talk about how she just compartmentalizes each thing, so she's not overwhelmed with everything all at once, and just really blocks out her time. And it really helped me know that, okay, I can figure these things out. Like, there's people that I know, that I connect with, that we have similar traits and all of that stuff, that are figuring it out. And so it's figure outable for me as well. So I loved that. And then on that same page, it says, this idea is particularly important in sports. Every day on the field or in the arena, you're going to meet someone who has more experience and perhaps more talent and success. You'll often feel as though you can't measure up. And often enough, that will be true. But just because you can't keep up doesn't mean that you can't show up. Only by showing up consistently, even when you're the greenest novice, will you ever get that experience and confidence. So I think that's a great message. It was for me, like meeting with someone that's further ahead than me in my business. Like maybe I can't keep up or measure up with what she's doing, but I can show up and I can continue consistently just growing. And by growing, I'll gain experience and I'll gain more confidence. So I love that. And that's for new coaches as well, or whatever you're going out after in your business. I know Ricky is mentoring people in his business, and maybe they might look at Ricky and be like, I can't do what he's doing. Like coming from Denver all the way down here to South America to mentor and do all these things, but they can just show up and do the best that they can. And by showing up consistently, they can grow. So I'll share one more thing on this page, then I'll pass it over, because like I always said in every call, I could just basically like read the book and be like, I love this, I love this, I love this. But it says high performers ponder the lessons from their wins. They give credit to themselves and they allow those wins to integrate into their psyche and give them greater strength. So it made me think, like, how often do we think about the things that we didn't do right or we didn't complete, and we completely ignore the awesome things that we have done? So just sharing that, I just want to point out just a few. Matt, I know, like Matt absolutely crushed it, and he won the men's physique contest out of the entire body company last summer. Like that's a huge win. And everything else, I know there's numerous, but I just want to point out a couple. Like Ricky, you're leading an incredible team in your business, and you get to travel and mentor them. Like celebrate those, even though there's things you aspire to do more. You've done all those things. Laura, you were a success starter. You hit diamond in your business and you're absolutely growing and you're doing absolutely awesome. So you have some incredible wins. Michelle, I saw your map to diamond. You're like so close to getting back. You're chatting with people who are interested. You have more prospects and everything's lined up for you to get back to your diamond business. And then Ina, she's our newest coach. As you guys know, she asked a question about coaching last week. So she just joined the team. Probably feels a little overwhelming, but I want to share some wins with her. I gave her 3 videos to watch and then some training for her to go over the next month to really understand what we do daily in the business activity tracker. She just like went through all of those training videos. So like huge win, making steps, taking progress. So celebrate all those wins. And Ashley, you're crushing it. I know you're working on building to diamond as well. And you led this team call just like Laura did, and you're doing incredible things as well. So I want to remind you guys of your wins, and you guys are doing awesome, incredible things. And I'm going to pass the time on to anybody else that wants to share.
Well, I haven't read that far. And for those of you that weren't on prior to the recording going on, I'm a slow reader. I was a slow reader from first grade. I was put in the slow reading group. So of course I'm a slow reader, right? But this is the first time in years that I've read 264 pages in 6 weeks. So that's a huge win for me. I love this book. I'm not to where you are reading from, but the one thing that stuck out with me with what you just said, Scotty, is that you're going to meet people who have more experience and perhaps more talent and successes. That's what this book is telling us to do, is to level up and hang out with those kinds of people. So what if we don't have the same level of experience? That's how we learn and grow. So I just wanted to share that.
Awesome. I love that. Is there anything that you want to share, Laura, from where you are at? I don't care if it's from the week past or the week.
Well, I'm doing all the performance prompts. I'm literally sitting there writing them down.
Yeah.
And from page 246, it's about, the person you're trying to influence has the following characters. And I thought the person I'm trying to influence is my avatar. So it's really me who I'm trying to influence. And I was like trying to talk belief and power into myself. And so I just went through all of those and wrote almost like a love letter to myself, to prove that, I'm worthy of all of this. She's probably too hard on herself when she thinks she's just not good enough. Well, then you bring up all our past things that we have accomplished. I did achieve diamond in 10 months. I did get Success Club starter. Maybe it wasn't in the timeline that I had in mind for myself, but I didn't stop, and it didn't prevent me. So what if I didn't get it by March of last year? I did it in October, but that's okay. The one thing that I'm most proud of is Success Club starter, because that's a short window of opportunity. And once that window's gone, you can't just go, oh, well, I'll do it again. I'll try it for later. So Ina, if you don't know, is it Ina or Ina?
Ina.
Ina. If you don't know about Success Club starter, you have 6 months to hit Success Club in that each month in that period. And when you do, you get a free ticket to Summit the next year.
Okay.
So, and you get your name up on the board, and
that's awesome.
You're celebrated. So that's something that I told Scotty I was going to do. It's also good to speak your goals out loud to somebody who's going to help you stay focused on them. So Scotty always had to kind of rein me in.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and Ina and I get to do a getting started right call. So tomorrow, when we do our Zoom, we'll set some goals and talk about what you want to accomplish. Cool. I love that. And one thing I loved about when I met with Micah this morning is we set our next brunch for a month out. But one thing I loved is like, each of us, what are we going to accomplish? What's going to be done before next month? And so I was like, okay, awesome. And some of the goals that I shared, and I know this is outside of the book, but since Laura's talking about sharing goals, I wrote them on my board, but my goal is to be a 9-star diamond team by June 1st. My goal is also by March 15th to go from 175 to 165. And the reason is we're going on the free Beachbody Success Club trip to Mexico. So I want to be a little more in shape and a little more dialed in with my nutrition. And then one of the other things is the goal that I set with Micah for next month, because it's a while now from it's like February 7th to June 1st. It's like 5 months. So and the goal is to have 4 new diamond coaches, or diamonds that were diamonds before, to get that back to build us to a 9-star diamond team. So my goal for next month was to create 3 new emerald coaches in this month. So there's me putting out my goal for the month in my business, is to create 3 new emerald coaches, which I know is easily achievable. I need to help 3 of my coaches recruit their first 2 teammates. So something that I know will take some work, but that I can accomplish. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I like to share. This is from the 3 C's of confidence. The third one, the one about connecting with people. And there is a quote there by Dale Carnegie that says, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in people than in 2 years by trying to get people to become interested in you. And man, that really hit home. That really hit really hard. And I tied with the chapter on influence, which is my favorite chapter of this book. It was perfect timing for me, because I've been struggling leading some people that I was thinking, what's wrong with these people? They don't get it. And and this book has forced me to, hey, Ricky, look in the mirror. You are the problem, not them. So it's been really hard, but mostly now in the days of social media, in which we all think, oh, how can I make this post the coolest so that people will be interested in me? And then Dale Carnegie says it's just the opposite. Is no, don't try to get people to become interested in you. You have to become interested in people, and then they will reciprocate. So, man, that was that. You know what? That I have had the opportunity to test it and try it and to practice this idea, which is nothing new. I mean, this idea has been around for hundreds of years, but it was my time for to reread this and absorb it. So that's connecting with people and influence. That's my main takeaway.
I love that. Thank you. Right on that same page, where that Dale Carnegie quote is, I'm going to share this in here because I know we have some introverts in this group. Raise your hand
What-
if you are the introvert.
What page?
It's practice number 3, enjoy connecting, 337 in the book that I have. It says and what I love about this book, we talked about it, I remember in the first couple of weeks, that it's by studies. It's not just like someone's opinion. These are studies on high performers. A recent study, over 900 CEOs found that just over half of the highest performing were introverts, with near 50-50 odds. It's not personality that's giving an edge. So for those of you that are introverted like myself and not the extroverts of the group, know that that's not a determining factor. We can't use that as an excuse to be like, oh, I can't do this because so-and-so, I'm not bubbly, or I'm not out there like so-and-so. That 50% of successful CEOs, just more than 50%, are actually introverted. So I love that. It was a good reminder as well because you tend to attract the people that you are. I'm introverted, so a lot of people I attract are introverts, not all, but it was a good reminder for me to help my people know that too. Cool. Who else wants to share?
I can
Oh,
share
go.
something.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead. No, you go.
All right. So, I really love this chapter, was like the practice 3, the connecting, because that's what I love to do the most out of anything. And I don't talk about it very often, that I am a good connector. And so, it just was so interesting because I was talking to my brother on the phone about it last week before I started the chapter, about how good both of us are at connecting people, because he works in Washington, D.C., and he had walked out of his work across from the White House and down the street and met somebody who knew me. And so he's like, you know people everywhere. And I said, yeah, it's so much fun. Like, that's what I do for a living. I make friends. And it just feels so good to kind of have that validation that that's what we do. And, that we're good at connecting people. And then I met with a new partner prospect yesterday and visited with him for about an hour. And he said, what I love the most about what you do is that you don't sell people, you help people. And he goes, and you help connect them with what they need. And so it just, all this connecting theme has been, huge for me this week. And, like my grandpa always said, if you want, the bigger your goal, the more people you have to help. And so really similar to, what Ricky was talking about. And, with that, just connecting the world and connecting people and helping them, and how much fun that is and how good it feels. And you don't have to be an extrovert to do that, because most of that helping happens one-on-one. So I just really love this chapter. It was great.
Awesome. Who else wants to share something?
I can share.
Awesome, Ashley.
My page 339, it's under the Beware 3 Traps chapter. Probably, like, if you can relate to being like a perfectionist, or you can relate to wanting all the results all at once and being impatient and when they're not coming on your timeline. I liked this section, and it says, slow down. This is in bold letters. Be more strategic. Say no more often. And then it goes on to say, yes, you can do amazing things. You can take on the world, but don't overcommit yourself just because you're good at what you do. It's a short hop from bad A to burnout. And I have totally experienced that so many times, because I I don't know. I just trying to juggle like the mom work life and all the other things. Right. And I, this time I'm like, I'm not going to like try and do this on 4 hours of sleep. I have big goals and I know I can do it, but I can be more intentional with my time and not just like a hamster spinning my wheel over and over again. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I think there's a big misconception sometimes that, like, I believe you have to grind for your goals. And there's certain times, there's certainly times when you have to do more grinding than other times, or put more focus in. But what I've seen is that it's more being, like you're saying, Ashley, being more intentional and less distracted with what are the activities that I need to do. Because I'll see some people, and this will just be calling it out. I'm not saying it to anyone in this group, but you might do this from time to time, because I fall into the trap as well, where I'll have somebody that I know is working a full-time job. They're either a dad or mom. So I know when they get home from work, they're extremely busy. They need to spend time with their spouse uninterrupted, whether that's 30 minutes or an hour, and they need to spend time on their business. So these are all blocks of time. There's work, there's kids when you get home from work, there's spouse, and then there's business. And I see just from time to time, someone will get on and like, maybe I'm going live in a group, or maybe someone posts something in a group, and this person or persons will comment on it right away and be like, and just engage with the group. And I think it's great to engage with a community, be a part of a community, but they wonder why their wheels are spinning and they feel burnt out. Like, I'm not seeing any progress, but they're not focused on doing the income producing activities, which for our business is obviously working on yourself, and then connecting with people, finding out their goals, inviting them, making the sell, which will be getting them into a package or products they need, and then supporting them. But they're spending the hour they have to work the business, like jumping from one notification to the next, like, oh, who commented on my post? And then like, oh, Scotty posted in the Bombshell community. And it goes and checks that out and like, oh, what did they say about in the Bombshell? And then there's a video, and then they start watching the video, and then an hour and a half has passed, and they're like, I worked. And then they go on to bed and repeat the next day. And then 3 months later, they're like, I'm just so burnt out. I've been grinding and grinding, and I'm not seeing any progress. Does that make sense? Kind of what I'm saying? But they're just distracted and just in a way saying yes to doing everything without doing anything at all. So I think really getting intentional with the right income producing activities is a thing that is huge, that we need to help others as we're mentoring and influencing them to do. Yes, and Ina says that perfectly. Work smarter, not harder. Cool. Anybody else want to share any takeaways? It was a really short section because it went right to the summary guide after a little bit.
The other thing I just wanted to say was a takeaway for me is that it just was a reminder that even when you're, like you feel like you're doing all the right things, that there's still so much to learn, and to just really remember to just be humble and stay willing to be coachable ourselves also. I just think that's really, I don't know, it just hit home, like through the whole thing of the book, is that your next level, you're not going to get there doing what you've been doing. So, we really need to, or I need to just remember that there's so much to learn, and and to not get overwhelmed with that process, to like enjoy it and really lean into it, because sometimes it's like where you feel, I think there's a tipping point. Let me start over. I think there's a tipping point when you start to become successful and you start to reach your goals, where you realize that you feel confident, and then you realize you don't know anything. Like you get to this, you're like, oh, I'm building, and I don't know how to get to the next level. And so then you kind of start going downhill and you realize that there's so much you need to learn to get to this next thing or to do this next thing. And if you don't stay willing to, coachable, and it just, you can turn it around faster. So the more humble you are and the more willing that you are to learn the next right thing, the faster, the less curb, like you can take the curb out of it. So I think that was something that just, it wasn't in a particular space in the book, but just reading the book, like I really got that from it. So
I
I'll
love
say
that. I have to say, I've loved meeting with you guys weekly. It's like extra accountability on top of the reading. Like there's sometimes where I've fallen behind and like I've worked massively to catch up. Like I'll be honest, I fell behind in the reading, even though it was short. I just got, I would say, distracted when it came to my reading time, but I did listen to it during my workout because it was short. It was like 45 minutes. The last few little bit was less than that. But one of the things that I'm really getting at it is I kind of got in a habit of just listening to podcasts about nutrition or just scattered, just going from one to the next. Someone would recommend one, I'd listen to it and not being really intentional about my growth. But what I've loved about these prompts, like I love seeing Laura, you've really taken the time to write these prompts down, is I want to celebrate my win or recognize inside of myself just the taking action on the things, like just to share some of them. Like I called my corporate mentor. I haven't worked with a corporate mentor for like 5 years because I've just been like so comfortable that I just want to do my own thing and not be called out when I fall short or when I'm just comfortable and just kind of floating along. So I connected with a corporate mentor. I reached out to my sponsor in this business and let her know what my goals were for some accountability. And then I think what triggered this whole thought process, Michelle, is you just sharing, be humble. I've known for a few years that I should connect with other people who are further than me, and that my friend Micah is probably the best option. Like she's the only one that's local and she's way further than me. But I really do feel like I wasn't being humble. I was a little bit prideful in a way, because I remember when we were top 10, like I was driving down to their team retreats when she was just building her business to elite for the first time and teaching them and doing Q&A. And it was like kind of like a prideful thing. Like, I don't want to ask for help from somebody that I used to help. Does that make sense? And I feel bad saying that, but it's really where I was at. And so this book was like, dude, like go surround yourself with awesome people if you want to grow. And so we did our brunch. We're doing family Super Bowl party together on Sunday. And I'm like, oh, this was not as difficult as it seems. She wasn't like, why is Scotty coming to me to connect and for help? So a lot of times we create stories in our head as well. So I've been excited about just implementing some of these changes. Cool. Justin, welcome. I know you're probably at work as well. Cool. And I want to shout out because Justin wasn't here at the beginning. Justin, on Celebrating the Wins, brand new. He was a former coach. He re-enrolled as a coach, has some awesome goals. And he has a goal to be a diamond coach just after his birthday in April, on the last day of the goal is the last day of April for that. But he's also taking a leadership role of gathering up others that are going for that as well. And I know, Michelle, I think you're in there. Laura's in there now too. And so there's a group of people going for the same goal, masterminding together. So Justin, I'm grateful for you. And that's a huge win for you to set that goal and to take action on it. Cool. Anybody else want to share anything? Or if we don't, we can kind of talk about what book we want to do next or whatever. I'll make sure I don't have anything else that I loved before.
One of the things that came up for me in the what is that, the PQ, what were those, the what was that acronym for, the PQ something or other, the thing You know what I'm talking about?
Liquid quality output.
Yes, 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 yes. And one of the things that came out for me is how to tell better stories. I feel like I read some people's posts, and they're so eloquent in their storytelling, and I just don't feel like my stories are, reader worthy sometimes. And I have the book Stories That Stick with Kendra Hall, but I've never read it. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that's something anybody wants to work on too.
Stories that stick. That's a good one. I have that one too.
Have you read it?
I did right when I got it. I'm trying to find it. I can't remember which one it is. That's a great book. I'm gonna write down these ideas.
It's right here.
Oh yeah, wait. I'm color coded, so now I know where to find it in my books.
Oh, it's white.
Okay.
That's a good idea. And then she has another one, Choose Your Story, Change Your Life. It's the second one to this, and I have that one too. I just keep buying books and then don't read them.
Well, that's why I'm excited about this year. We're gonna actually read them. Okay. I'm gonna write some of these ideas down.
Why do you like the second one better, Michelle?
I really liked the questions that she asked in it. It was, there was a lot of prompts. I like books that require you to take action on yourself or somewhere else. And so having the prompts in there to review, but also, to look at, because this is what I do on my team or on my challenge group calls every week is we meet together on Tuesday nights for an hour and we read book. Like that's what we've been doing for 5 years now. So I've read so many of these books with my groups, and I think that's why my groups are, like long. People stay in them because it's not just about fitness, it's about, living your best life. And I'm really proud of that. And so these books, though, I get the ideas from everybody else in the group, like we do here, but so it's incredible. But the prompts were really easy to use in the group. So, it was more interactive, I guess, for me than some books you read and there's not those prompts. So I get more out of books with prompts. And she had really good questions in that choose your question, change your, what is it? The second book.
I haven't read her second book.
Choose Your Story, Change Your Life.
Story, change your life. Yeah.
Choose Your Story. I'm gonna write that down.
Here.
Yeah, that was a good
Show
one.
and tell. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like constantly reading 3 books at a time. So I listen to one, I read one on my app, and then I read one on paper. So I'm always got too many things going.
God bless you, because I can barely even read one, let alone 3.
Yeah. Man, anybody else? Let's throw out some suggestions and then we can.
So I just started one
that.
last night that sounds like it's going to be freaking amazing. And it's called Uncommon. Let me grab it.
Accountability.
Uncommon.
No, it's I think it's hospitality.
Uncommon hospitality.
Oh, unreasonable hospitality. That's what it's called. And it's written by, I literally just started it. I'm like 5 minutes into it. It's by Will Guidara. And he said the remarkable power of giving people more than they expect. And it's by a gentleman that started with a restaurant that was, let me see if I can find the beginning of it. It starts the welcome from Simon Sinek, which was, I love him. But it's about, he basically took a restaurant, a 4-star restaurant, and turned it into the #1 restaurant in the world, and how he did that, him and his friend. And he's in the very first, 3 minutes of the book, he talks about they got invited to be one of the top 50 restaurants. And he said, him and his partner are looking around the room going, I wonder where we're going to rank, because they didn't know what number they were going to be. And the one that was announced first was number 50, and that was them. And they had never been before, and he said, and him and his buddy were like so dejected, like they just sat down and they were just bummed out. And they looked up and realized that they were on the screen, on a 30-foot screen, with their disappointed looks on their face for being the 50th most popular, or the best restaurant in the world. And how much crap they got from the rest of the group that was there later on, like in the mixer and stuff, where people were like, look, you should be celebrating this, you're 50 in the world. So anyways, and just how they made that decision to start then, and what they needed to do different to not just have good service, but unreasonable hospitality, like over the top, and how that was going to change their business. So I think it's going to be fun to read. The other one that I'm reading is called The One Thing, that I just literally am a couple pages into that too.
I really like the idea of that unreasonable hospitality. Put a little star by that one.
Me too, because I don't think we can ever offer enough hospitality
Value.
There's a reason why it's called the hospitality industry, having, lived the last 40 years in that industry here in Hawaii, that's primary industry here, and so I'm around it, and you see amazing hotel people, and then you see really bad ones, and you think, oh, I'm never going to be like that or want to be like that.
Yeah.
So I feel
a couple of the ideas I have. I was just really thinking back to books that really impacted my life. That I haven't read for a while. And one of them is The Compound Effect, or The Slight Edge. I think also that would be an awesome one to bring friends to again. Because it talks about all the little things that you do in your life and how they add up and compound for your good or for your bad, including nutrition, money, everything. So I think that would be a good one for sometime this year. We'll have to pick which one we do next. And another one that I was thinking about that would be cool to discuss was, and I don't know if you guys have read it, but I listened to it 60 times back in 2011. But it's one of those things. It's like, the book the whole time is like, don't tell anybody the secret. They have to discover it for themselves. It's Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
I love that book.
I think that would be an awesome book for me to revisit, and it made a huge impact on my life. So maybe sometime this year, that one too. Any other suggestions?
Well, Scotty, can I interject a comment about the compound effect?
Yeah.
Okay, so have it here, right?
Yep.
Okay, so just a little bit of bragging. So here is a picture. Okay, let me get rid of my digital background. And okay, there you go. So here's a picture of me with Darren Hardy and my daughter.
So awesome.
Yeah, that's, we're not buddies, but he knows who I am, and we have a good relationship online, so it's pretty cool. He's a great guy, man.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other suggestions? I think we have a good 5 or 6 books to pick from for our next one.
My only suggestion was maybe like pick a book about imposter syndrome, since so many of us have like big goals. I don't know. Every time I have like a big goal, I start to hear that voice in my head that's like, who are you to think you could do that?
Does anybody know?
Yeah, there's a really good book about that. And it's called How Are You Really?
Oh, I've heard of that, but
it's really great. And again, like all the prompts in it, like do the work.
Jenna Kuchar.
Yeah, it's a really good book.
How are you really?
Awesome.
I would suggest
heard-
listening to it too.
You've heard, how are you really? And when someone goes, I'm fine. Well, I listened to Joyce Myers once, and she says, fine simply means freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and
Emotional.
emotional.
Yeah. I've taught
So
all my youth
stop-
home kids that. I'm like, if you
Yeah.
tell me you're fine, I'm going to know that you're frustrated, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So don't say that out loud with me.
That's
And
awesome.
if someone's asked you how you are, say I'm great, because most people don't hear that coming out of people's mouths, even if you don't really mean it. It kind of raises your endorphin levels when you say it.
Yeah, that reminds me, I have a good friend, and I was working on it for a while and forgot about it till you mentioned that. But he was saying that he was working, when anybody asked, like, how are you doing? He's like, it's the greatest day of my life. Like that would be his response. And I think that's true, because what we say and what we speak comes to reality, you know. So
Hey guys, this is Justin.
Hello,
One of the
Justin.
books I've read that I really loved is called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. It is a phenomenal book that teaches really self-discipline and personal responsibility, which I think a lot of people lack. But I'd love to go with any of the books that you guys have mentioned. They all sound great, but Think and Grow Rich is my absolute favorite next to Scripture. And Extreme Ownership is a great read. So
awesome. Thank you, Justin. Cool. So let's wrap this up for today. However, before we wrap up, how do we want to pick the book? Because we have a list of like 6. And is there any, like, just comment one of the books that I'll read all the books, and then let's have you guys comment. And if one pops up twice, then we'll go with that one at first. We'll plan on reading all of them, most likely this year, but for the next one. So we have Stories That Stick, Choose Your Story, Change Your Life, Unreasonable Hospitality, The Compound Effect, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, How Are You Really, and Extreme Ownership. So type 1. I'll try not to look. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Okay, I see a couple votes in there. Wait for Ina. And Laura, did you put yours? Stories That Stick. Okay, we got Compound Effect, Stories That Stick, Stories That Stick. Oh man, we got a 3-way tie. Okay, so those are the main ones: Stories That Stick, The Compound Effect, and Think and Grow Rich. So here's the thing: we'll make those our next 3 books, and then how should we pick? Should I do a poll on our team page with those 3, and whichever one gets the most votes from the team?
You can do alphabetical.
Alphabetical.
Or just throw all 3 names in a hat and pick one.
Let's just do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that, and I'll make sure I don't
Do it right
play
now.
into mine. Okay. Okay, I'll do it.
Do it. Take action.
All right. All right. I'm gonna take
Actually, I really want to read Unreasonable Hospitality, so I might join Michelle in her little book club if I can handle 2 books at once.
Laura, why don't you do one of those Audible?
Yeah.
Because
That's how I get through
don't
all the books.
I don't do Audible. Nothing sticks in my brain.
Me
I'm
too.
a very distracted person.
I get it.
I don't remember anything. So I just don't waste my time.
And that's a good thing to remember too. Like this, what we're picking right now is just for like our team to read, but you can always go above and beyond, like, and read and listen to one on Audible or read
Yeah.
2 books at the same time. Like if you feel really like right now, for example, Ashley was asking about imposter syndrome. If we pick one of these books that has nothing to do with that really, but you really need to work on that, then by all means, I would work on listening to that book on Audible. Like whatever book we pick, I'm also going to be re-listening to a bunch of Darren O'Lean's podcasts so I can get my nutrition back in line because I've been eating way too much sugar. So, okay, I need my hat. It's right here.
Let's see. We
Let's
want to
see.
see. Make sure you're not cheating.
Make sure I'm not cheating. Okay. Let's see. We got stories that stick.
Woo!
Okay, so we'll do stories that stick as our first one. And then I have this list to go off for next month. So I'll make an
When are
announcement
we
about it.
starting? Or do we want to do stories that stick or the second one that Michelle said she liked better?
You guys decide.
It doesn't matter to me. I have them both.
Let's start with the first one and we can move into, we're working into the rotation this year. We got 12 months.
Yeah, we do. Okay.
Yes, we do.
So the plan is, just so that you guys are aware, I'll split it up. I'll try to do it a little more even because I know some of them are like 30 pages, sometimes 70 pages. I'll try to get it more split up evenly and break it out. But also just so you know, we'll have our first meeting on the 21st of February. Next Tuesday is next Tuesday, sorry, the 14th. We're going to do a team training with a guest speaker. So I met a girl, an elite coach that came on my snowboarding retreat, and she wanted to do a team call for us, and I'm going to do one for her. So I'm going to have her do that in between the 2 book club, the end of this one and that one. So next Tuesday, we're still meeting at this time, but it would just be her sharing her story and some tips about building business. And then the following week, February 21st, will be the first meeting for the Zoom. So on stories that stick, which means you can start reading that book at any point now, but like the official reading for the first week will start February 14th, next Tuesday, through February 21st for the meeting. Does that make sense?
Great.
Cool. Well, I've loved High Performance Habits. I love having you guys here with us, and I'm excited for us all to continue learning and growing. And I want to invite each of you guys to bring at least one friend to the next book club. So you can be a role model to them on personal development and just be someone in their corner, helping them, grow their life and in their mindset. So, all right, we'll see you guys next week.